Hi, hope you've had a great week. And first of all, I want to thank all of you who prayed for us out here in California with all the wildfires. I know your prayers have helped. Our firefighters are incredible, but I know your prayers and God help in situations like this. And so things are much better today. So the question I want to ask you today and to think about is, where do our feelings come from? You know, feelings like amazement when we see a beautiful sunset, or beautiful things in nature, or the love we feel when we hold our first child, or feelings of accomplishment when we do something well, or just the joy and happiness from different situations and people we're around. Or on the other hand, where do the negative feelings come from, like anger and hatred and sadness and selfishness or jealousy? Where do these feelings come from? You know, man has spent a long time, a lot of time, researching the origins of man in our physical state, the creation of the world and of human beings. And they've come up with some theories, like the theory of evolution or the Big Bang theory, but none of those theories include a creator. But when you look at man, you see that there are two sides of him. There's our physical side and there's a spiritual side, which are all the feelings and the emotions that we all feel. Where did those come from? I believe that they came from God the Creator. And yes, it's a fact in my mind that God created the earth. The Bible says that when he created man in Genesis 2, that he made his body, but then he had to breathe into man his spirit. And that's when we started to live. That's when things started to move physically and spiritually. And in the Bible, it says in Ecclesiastes 3 that God has made everything beautiful in its time. He also set eternity in the hearts of men, yet they cannot fathom what God has done from beginning to end. This is really incredible because God has set eternity in our hearts. That's our spiritual side. That's where these feelings come from that we're able to experience, because all of those things, none of those things are physical. You can't see them, you can't touch them, but we know they're real because we can see the effects of them. And that's our spiritual side. And the cool thing is that God gives us a choice as to where we will spend eternity by how we control our emotions. Jesus came to be the representation of God here on earth. In other words, God's physical side. Hebrews 1 says he's the exact representation of God. And Jesus also said, if you've seen me, you've seen the Father. And that everything that he says came from God. So Jesus is here to verify, and actually there is a lot of evidence to prove that Jesus was here on this earth. And so what we have recorded is really from God and God's way of helping us know how we can be with him forever. Who better to know how to deal with our emotions and feelings than God, the one who gave them to us? And, you know, that's what Jesus came to show us. And God wanted to prove to us that through the sacrifice of Jesus, we could then, when we obey him, have the power to live new and different lives. Lives where we're not controlled just by our feelings, whether they're positive or negative, but that we control our feelings. We can choose that, and it says that in Romans 6. So anyway, next time we'll talk a little bit more about that, but until then, read Genesis 2, Hebrews 1, Ecclesiastes 3, and Romans 6 again, and think about it. Where do your feelings come from? And can we control them? Until then, radiate the right choice. Thank you.